Today, we're doing something a little different. It's almost a kind of, well, conceptual archaeology. We're digging into the emotional and intellectual bedrock of society.
And our source material for this is really unique, isn't it?
It is. We're working from the transcript of a philosophical discussion from the JCF MRT Mumbai meet.
Right.
So our mission today is to explore this one, I think, really profound idea that came out of that conversation.
Go on.
The idea that mythology isn't just, history or some kind of fiction. It's actually a living collective secret.
The collective secret.
Yeah, like a shared emotional architecture that shapes how we see the world and helps us understand our own cultural and even personal DNA.
And that's the key right there, understanding reality. Because to really get into this material, you have to shift your perspective.
How so?
Well, you can't just look at the Sanskrit texts and the
Yeah.
English translations line by line. That's not the point. The whole discussion is about moving past that kind of surface reading. We're trying to find, as they put it, the gist of our discussion. And that means seeing that there are multiple dimensions of reality at play.
Okay, let's unpack that right away, because that seems foundational. This distinction between two different dimensions of the world.
It is.
What are we actually dealing with here?
Well, most of the time, we're just operating in what we can call the existing physical world.
The normal three-dimensional world we can see and touch.
Exactly. The measurable, objective world. But the source discussion insists that's, well, it's just not enough. There's a second, maybe more important dimension.
Which is?
The experiential world of meaning.
And that sounds like where all the interesting stuff happens, the human stuff.
Precisely. That world of meaning it's purely and individually experienced. It's where connotation, belief, values, all that lives. It's totally subjective.
So the physical world gives you the atoms, but the experiential world tells you how you feel about them.
You've got it. And this isn't just theoretical. Think about it. The source uses this idea of immediate connotation. If I just say the word Rama or the phrase Ganashenama.
Right. You don't have to think. The meaning, the feeling, it's just there instantly.
It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
You don't process the history of Rama. You get it. And that immediate connection is the gateway to understanding how mythology really works.
Okay, so if our reality is shaped by these internalized pictures, that brings us to the core concept. Mythology as this collective secret.
Yes.
A story that, and I'm quoting here, does not go away, and it hangs there in the emotional atmosphere.
I love that phrase, emotional atmosphere. And they gave a perfect real-world example of this.
The Mahabharata reruns.
Mahabharata reruns back in 1994. There was a big time gap since it first aired, but the audience reaction wasn't what you'd expect for just an old show.
They weren't treating it like a history lesson or just some classic drama.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The reviews, the way people talked about it, it was so telling. They weren't seeing it as new information. The message was basically, we don't want a new story. We connect with this story.
So it was more like an act of reconnection.
Exactly. A reaffirmation of something they already knew deep down.
Yeah.
It was just sitting there in the collective subconscious, waiting.
Which suggests the power of myth is less about learning something new and more about recognizing something that's always been there.
That's it.
But if that secret is always there, how does it stay relevant? I mean, society changes. It can't just be trapped in old texts like the Puranas forever.
Oh, absolutely not. And it isn't. Its strength is its adaptability. It pops up everywhere.
So not just in scriptures.
No. In pictures, in media, video games. The source even mentions how it influenced South Indian politics when media saturation really took off. The story just finds a new vessel.
Which brings us to a fascinating example of that adaptation, the reinterpretation of Hanuman in modern media.
A perfect case study. If you look at older movies or illustrations, they usually stick very close to the Ramayana or the Tulsidas Ramayana.
The traditional story.
The traditional story. Hanu fights traditional demons, the Rakshasas of Lanka, standard stuff.
But the source pointed to a more recent animated film, The Return of Hanuman, that did something very different.
Radically different.
Yeah.
The creators took the core figure Hanuman and dropped him into a totally contemporary world.
And he's a boy in this version.
He takes the avatar of a boy, and he fights the Rakshasa with it. And this is the genius of it. The demon is redefined. The antagonist is pollution.
Wow. So the ancient battle against evil gets mapped onto a modern environmental crisis.
You see how powerful that is? The fundamental story, the fight against chaos, it stays the same. But the definition of chaos, of evil, evolves. It anchors that collective emotional atmosphere to what we're facing right now.
Right. And that tension between a fixed myth and a changing world, that seems to lead directly to questions of identity, doesn't it?
It has to. When the collective story starts defining good and evil for today, it forces you, the individual, to ask, okay, where do I fit in all this?
Which is a perfect transition to the philosophical questions of self, the ones the source ties back to great thinkers like Shankaracharya.
The big ones. The questions that sooner or later everyone has to ask themselves.
Who are you? Who am I?
From where have you come up? From where have you been? Who is my mother? Who is my father? The source suggests that the real philosophical journey starts the moment you consciously ask those things.
So why is mythology a better framework for answering those questions than, say, just psychology?
Because it provides the context. It provides the cultural and spiritual DNA for the answer. When you understand your link to that collective secret, you're not just defining yourself in a vacuum. You're anchoring yourself in a huge pre-existing philosophical structure.
So it's about understanding yourself so you can stand out, define your own unique place in the world.
Precisely. We've talked before about ideas like Indian management skills. It's related. You need that philosophical grounding to know your purpose. The myth bridges your internal experiential world, the who am I, with the external world of action.
That's a powerful idea. Let's take one step further back then to the biggest question of all, creation itself. The source says these ancient texts didn't just explain origins. They used vivid imagery to fix these really abstract ideas in our minds.
They absolutely did. I mean, look at how the Vedas cover creation. The source brings up two key texts, the Purusha Sukta and the Nasadiya Sukta.
And they're quite different, aren't they?
Very. The Purusha Sukta explains creation through, well, a kind of cosmic being or a cosmic sacrifice. But the Nasadiya Sukta is far more philosophical, almost skeptical. It deals with the mystery of what was there before anything.
These are incredibly abstract concepts. So how do you stop them from just floating away? How do you make them stick?
By using symbolic imagery that connects the cosmos directly back to us, to human experience. There's that one beautiful quote the source mentions, Chandrama Manaso Jata.
The moon emerged from the mind. The sun came forth from the eye.
Exactly. Think about that. It's not just poetry. It's a philosophical statement. It suggests the macrocosm, the sun, the moon, is a direct result of an underlying consciousness.
It makes the cosmic personal.
It does more than that. It makes an impossibly abstract concept understandable and, maybe more importantly, memorable. Instead of some dry statement like consciousness preceded celestial bodies, you get this powerful image that fixes the idea in your experiential world.
And we see that same mechanism with other symbols like Anareshwar.
The half-male, half-female deity.
Right.
Another philosophical vehicle.
Right.
On one level, it's about the union of male and female needed for biological creation. But philosophically, it's about the merging of fundamental concepts, dynamic energy, prakriti, and static consciousness, kusha. The image embeds that abstract principle of duality and unity right into the collective atmosphere. It makes it accessible.
This has been quite a journey. We started with the two worlds, physical and experiential.
Move through that emotional atmosphere where the Mahabharata and a modern Hanuman live.
And landed on these deep questions of identity and cosmology.
It's all connected.
It really is.
Yeah.
So to try and summarize this deep dive, mythology is so much more than stories. It's a foundational philosophy.
A kind of operating system.
I like that. An operating system that lives in our collective emotional DNA. It's constantly adapting, like we saw with Hanuman, but it's also anchoring our identity through those timeless questions of Shankaracharya. It gives us a framework to find our place.
And if you connect all of that back to those high-level Vedic concepts,
Right.
it really shifts how you think about existence itself. The source material leaves us with a very provocative thought, especially from the Nasadiya Sukta,
Which is?
that ultimate reality was single,
Yeah.
unified,
Yeah.
and that we don't really think of it as becoming something.
It just is.
It just is. And that leaves a really important question for you to think about based on that final insight.
Okay, let's hear it.
If reality is fundamentally single and absolute, and if we are not constantly being created or becoming something new, but we simply are, a permanent manifestation of that one reality,
Yeah.
what does that imply about your own identity?
Yeah.
About its permanence, its inherent worth,
Yeah.
right here, right now? The stories, the myths, maybe they're just the tools that help us see that truth that's already there.
A profound concept to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the collective secret that shapes our world.